Hello and welcome to JSB Talks Digital, the podcast for marketers, digital change champions, and those of you bringing your skills into the digital age. I'm Joanne Sweeney-Burke and this podcast is brought to you by Digital Training Institute. In this episode, I discuss metrics, what to measure and why to measure in digital marketing and social media. In social media news, new Facebook video creation app for influencers, extremist content on YouTube to be removed, and Facebook wants to stop creeps downloading our Facebook profiles. I interview Amanda Robinson about what metrics matter in digital and social, and she's based in Toronto. In shoutouts, 3 social media metrics that matter and free tools to measure them. Ask JSB, I answer my listeners' questions. In JSB's column, take my advice on how to measure metrics that matter and find out what tool saved my working week.
Social media news.
Facebook is aggressively targeting the YouTube market as it attempts to become a destination for watching video. It's hard to see it ever catching up with the world's second largest search engine, but let's face it, they do have 2 billion users. During a video panel discussion at VidCon recently, Facebook announced that it was going to roll out a video creation app for influencers. According to Mashable, it's an update to the Mentions app, which is for high-profile accounts. They say the app will still feature access to Facebook Live, as well as a new live creative kit, where creators will have access to special tools that include adding intros and outros to live broadcasts. They will also have custom stickers that viewers can use and custom frames for the creator. The update includes a new community tab where creators can more easily connect with their followers on Facebook, as well as Facebook's other apps, Instagram, and of course, Messenger. The app will also have more insights, such as who the creator's followers are and how they are consuming the creator's videos. Google has announced that it will take more stringent action to remove terrorist or violent extremist content on YouTube. In a blog post titled 4 Steps We're Taking Today to Fight Terrorism Online, writer Keith Walker admitted that the search engines needed to do more to tackle modern-day warfare. He says, while we and others have worked for years to identify and remove content that violates our policies, the uncomfortable truth is that we as an industry must acknowledge that more needs to be done, and now. So the 4 additional steps Google intends to take to fight online terrorism are: they're increasing their use of technology to help identify extremist and terrorism-related videos. They will increase the number of independent experts in YouTube's Trusted Flagger program. They will take a tougher stance on videos that do not clearly violate their policies, but that contain inflammatory religious content. And they will expand its role in counter-radicalisation efforts and are working with Jigsaw to implement the redirect method. Have you ever had your profile picture stolen on Facebook? Well, the social network is testing a new feature in India that allows you to add an extra degree of protection to your profile photo. Simply tap on your profile photo and select Turn on Picture Guard. In the company's own words, once activated, other people will no longer be able to download, share or send your profile picture in a message on Facebook. Facebook found it could also deter misuse by applying overlay filters. They say, based on preliminary tests, they've learned that when someone adds an extra design layer to their profile picture, other people are at least 75% less likely to copy that picture.
Interview.
In today's show, I'm joined by Amanda Robinson, the founder of Social Savvy Society, based in Toronto in Canada. Amanda's digital marketing niche is in Facebook advertising, Google Analytics, and search engine optimization, which she describes as social tactics that supercharges marketing efforts, making every marketing dollar work more effectively. And I love that. She's a perfect guest for the show as she's all about making things measurable. Amanda, you're very welcome to JSB Talks Digital. Thank you for joining me on the show, and especially because it's 7 a.m. in Toronto.
Thank you so much for having me on. Yes, it's a little early and unusually early for me, but this is wonderful.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and our listeners, because you actually have almost like a career in graphic design and in marketing.
I have a whole medley of skills that I've acquired over the years through different job opportunities, different life experiences, different skills that I've just acquired over time. And little did I know, at the time as I was learning all of that it would sort of all collide together into this perfect career of digital and social media marketing. And over time, it fell into place, and it just makes sense. And a little bit about me, about where my head is at. I am definitely a digital marketing geek. I'm an analytics geek. I love the numbers. I love making things measurable, and I love digging down and getting my hands dirty in the data. So it just feels like an absolute natural fit. It's what lights me up. It's what I'm passionate about. And I honestly right now cannot even imagine doing anything else.
I'm just like you. I love digital, and I'm a complete geek and a complete nerd. But I think we're very fortunate to be in a space that is growing, that's changing, and that is really exciting. So, I hear you. I absolutely hear you. So when it comes to measuring anything, don't you think that the starting point is setting your goals and objectives?
Yes and no. There's setting your goals and objectives, but what I find that when I first start working with clients who want to get themselves into a system where they do have everything measurable, where they can grow, they don't typically have a good starting point. They don't know where to start. And surprisingly enough, you actually have a lot of things that are measurable and will give you a lot of insights and data right out of the gate. So if you have a website, you have Google Analytics installed, you can track some very wonderful baseline data, just understanding, the amount of time people are spending on a page, how many pages per session, what landing pages are they coming in on, what pages are they exiting on. So there's some very, very basic data that you can start tracking and start paying attention to that will be very, very beneficial for your business. But if you want to start getting more tactful about it, then it's time to start looking at your goals and objectives. What do you want people to do when they arrive on your website, or when they're exposed to your business, whether that's through any social channel or whether that's through any online medium whatsoever? What action do you want people to take? How do you want to motivate them? How do you want to start that relationship or that conversation with them? Everything is measurable.
So we've often heard the term, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. But with so many analytics and insights available to us today from the various online channels, how do we choose which results matter? Is it conversions, click-through rates, sentiment, referral traffic, hashtag reach? Is it different for each client and each campaign?
It's definitely going to be different for each business depending on what their end goal is. But again, there's going to be some basics that everyone should be paying attention to, and it's fairly easy to compare apples to apples. When you launch a campaign, when you put anything, especially involving paid advertising, anything out into the internet universe, you should be comparing it against anything that you've tried in the past. So as much as each campaign might have a different objective, it's still going to give you a baseline of how people are acting and reacting and interacting with your website or with your content. So it's, as far as what you should be measuring or what you should be paying attention to, it does change campaign to campaign, but you can basically look at it from so many different angles. The data is overwhelming. It's amazing. So there's lots of opportunities for you to be able to view it in many different ways. So it really does come down to what's the end goal, what's the objective for that business and for that campaign, and what do you want it to achieve, and the data's there. You can look at it.
So let's talk about the big rivals and the big Goliaths on the internet, Facebook and Google. Now, we know that they compete in terms of paid advertising and in terms of traffic. But for us as marketers, they coexist each playing a very important role. So talk to me about the role of Facebook and Google, the pixel, UTM tracking, and how we can get the most out of social and web traffic.
Okay, that's a big one. So Facebook and Google, they are the two platforms that I could not live without. So Facebook has a habit, I don't want to accuse them of over-reporting, but I do find that when it comes to looking at Facebook reporting, the numbers always seem to be quite higher than what I'm seeing in Google Analytics. So what I end up doing is I use the two of them harmoniously together. I will launch a Facebook campaign. I'll look at the results in Facebook, and then I go over and look at Google after I've used UTM tracking codes on the content to see how much of that traffic is actually hitting the website, and then finding the behaviors of what are they actually doing when they get to the website. So I use Facebook and Google as far as the reporting, the metrics, the numbers. I use them in combination with each other. And in order to get the most out of it, I would definitely say learning how to use UTM tracking codes on Facebook and through social media is going to be your best friend. Being able to create your own structure, your own naming structure, your own sort of class system on how you want to tag each of your campaigns and each of your content pieces, being able to track it accurately, that's going to be a marketer's absolute best friend. It's going to be the ace in your pocket. So getting that information properly tagged based on how you need to be able to understand it and read it, tagging all of your paid advertising, even if it's organic or non-paid advertising that you're putting out, tagging everything essentially, and looking at your reporting in Facebook, and then also simultaneously looking at your reporting in Google Analytics. When you use the two of them together, the power is incredible. It's very, very insightful.
And I'm actually going to embed a video on how to set up UTM tracking and goals in Google Analytics on the blog post associated with this podcast. So let's move on to Google Analytics. What are the key things, like the basics, that we should be looking at? I know a lot of people that I talk to are fearful of Google Analytics because maybe data isn't their thing, but I think that they should overcome that. So share with them the basics.
So Google Analytics, yes, I can definitely understand if you've never been in it or if you aren't familiar with it, it can be a little intimidating when you first get exposed to it. So I want to help calm that fear just a little bit. So Google Analytics, when you break it down, it's actually quite simple. So you have four main sections when you go into Google Analytics. You have your audience, acquisition, behavior, and conversions. And to make that make sense to you, you have your audience, so who is hitting your website? And then you have acquisition. How are they getting there? What channels are they using to arrive at your website? Then you have behaviors. What are they doing when they get there? And then you have conversions, and those are the actions and the results that you're getting from those people on your website. So you have those four main sections, and once you learn how to read the information, it's basically a replica. The information is very, very easy to read once you're in there. So it might seem intimidating at first, but it's actually just quite simple if you just take the time to go in, take a look around, just get familiar with with the space, and then it's easy to just work your way through logically.
So how important do you think it is to split test in social and digital marketing?
It's absolutely critical. And when we say split test, there are many ways to do split tests. There are lots of tools that you could be using. There are lots of ways that you could be split testing. But the bottom line is you should be testing. So, for example, if you're doing a Facebook campaign and you're trying to measure it, if you just do one campaign and throw it out there, and then you look at the results, that's great. That might be giving you a baseline. But if you're not testing it against other creative or other ad copy or other links or other objectives, then you don't have anything else to compare it to see where you're getting better results. So it's absolutely critical when it comes to testing or split testing. You just got to keep trying, even when you think that you've got yourself to a place where you find a formula that's working for you and working for your business. Don't stop testing. Don't stop. Everything can change in an instant as far as how the algorithm works and as far as how Facebook works, how any of these other platforms work. So constantly, continually testing is going to show you a lot about how you can really improve those results. Even if you've been doing something for a long time that you think is working, it's always worth testing because things do change.
That's excellent advice. Never stop testing. I'm going to keep that in my mind. So tell me, what are your favorite analytics or tracking tools? What's in your toolbox?
In my toolbox, I like to use the original platforms themselves, in the sense that I like to use the Facebook reporting through Ads Manager, and I like to customize my columns. So I like to look at things like results rate. I want to know that when I run a campaign, I want to be able to see how many people it was served to, how many of those people took the desired action, but then I want to compare it against a result rate, because I might have, it's very easy to see very inflated numbers. You know, I might have someone view a video 20,000 times from one audience segment, but then in another audience segment, I might only have them view, 1,000 times, but I might have more of those people actually take the desired action that I want them to, and they might be a higher value audience. So when I compare the results rate, it gives me a lot more data, much more information. So I like to use the basic tools there. I just like to customize the views and dig deeper into the data. And then on the Google Analytics side, again, I just like to use the basic platform. I don't like to use anything to filter the data through, because I like to see the original raw data as it is. And then two of the little tools that I use in combination with that is I have two Google Chrome plugins that are my absolute all-time favorite. One of them is the Google Tag Assistant. And this little tool, it's just a little Chrome plugin, and it helps me see what tags people have installed on their website, as far as, do they have Google Analytics installed on their website? Do they have a Google remarketing tag installed on their website for remarketing with Google AdWords? Do they have Google Tag Manager installed? So that helps me with clients give a baseline of understanding where they're at with their website, and I don't have to have any behind-the-scenes access. I can just use that little plugin while I'm on their site. And then the other one is the Facebook Pixel Helper. Same idea. I can jump on anyone's website, use that Facebook Pixel Helper Google Chrome plugin, and see if they have any pixels installed and what pixels those are for Facebook. So it helps give me a baseline, and those tools have been very, very useful for me in business.
Amanda, you are a wealth of information, and I could keep talking to you all day about tools and metrics. So I think we'll continue the conversation probably on social. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. Before you go and have breakfast, can you please tell my listeners where they can find you online? Because I'm sure that they'll want to follow up, have a look at your website, and have a look at you on social media.
Absolutely. Thank you. So the best place to find me is at socialsavvysociety.com or facebook.com/socialsavvysociety.
Amanda Robinson, thank you so much, and thanks for joining me on the show.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Shoutouts.
In this part of the show, I give shout-outs to brands, organisations or individuals whose work online is remarkable and worth talking about. In this week's show, I'm giving shout-outs to 3 free tools that will help you analyse your social media marketing efforts.
1.
Follower Wonk shows you detailed breakdowns of your followers and activity. Click on the Analytics tab, enter a Twitter username, either yours or someone else's, perhaps a client, and view information on followers and following. You can see statistics like when your followers are online, when they typically post, and how your followers fall into categories like social authority, activity, total tweets, and follower count. This is an important tool when building out your Twitter strategy.
2.
The number one use for Google Analytics is for analysing website traffic. And as part of the analysis, you can dig into the referral statistics on your social media marketing as well. So click through to Acquisition, then Social, and then Overview. And you can check how many visits your site receives from each of the major social networks. If you decide to add goals to your Google Analytics tracking, you can see the direct impact of social on the goals and paths as well.
3,
Keyhole offers hashtag and keyword tracking, which will provide you with a wealth of information such as reach, top posts, shares of posts, and much more. For account tracking, you can monitor your brand's or your competitors' engagement rates on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I love the fact that Keyhole tracks hashtags over those 3 key platforms.
Ask JSB.
Ask JSB brings the voices of my listeners onto the podcast. So now you have an opportunity to ask me a question, have it aired, and I will respond. If you want to hear your voice on JSB Talks Digital, simply log on to digitaltraininginstitute.ie/askjsb and I'll receive an email with your question.
Hello, my name is Dermot Devlin and I run MyWayAccess.com, a website for people with disabilities in Ireland to see where is and isn't accessible for people. My question is, Joanne, I have recently started doing little videos to promote the website and to show people what it is like for somebody with a disability to travel about the different towns and experience the different places around the country. My question is, what is the optimum length for a video that'll keep people interested but won't go on so long that they lose interest on the core message that I'm trying to get across? Thank you, Joanne.
Thanks for your question, Dermot, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show. The short answer to your question is, what platform is the video for? But let me give you the long answer. On Facebook, while Facebook allows a maximum of 120 minutes for videos, we wouldn't advise posting anything that long unless you're doing a special social media screening of a full-length film or you're out and about doing a full accessibility visit. But according to research conducted by Wistia, apparently the sweet spot is 2 minutes for native video. However, if you're doing Facebook Live, then the optimum length is 5 minutes to reach the maximum audience. On Twitter, you have 140 seconds. You can post a video on Twitter by importing one from your device or recording it directly using the Twitter app. On YouTube, more research from Wistia reported that for a video of 4 to 5 minutes, fewer than 60% of viewers will still be watching, as against 75% of viewers who will watch for 1 to 2 minutes. On Instagram, of course, you have 60 seconds to engage your audience. And don't forget its very useful multiple clips feature, which allows you to start and stop recording a video. On Snapchat, you can, of course, post a video snap ranging from 3 to 10 seconds. But for best effect, I recommend that you create a story for multiple sequential snaps. Be sure to tag me in your next video, Dermot, and I look forward to watching it.
JSB's column.
In today's column, I share my thoughts on how to revisit your social media marketing strategy by focusing on metrics that matter. I recently developed a one-day workshop on this very topic and it's getting great feedback. So I thought I'd share some of that approach in this show. Sprout Social defines social media metrics as data and statistics that give you insights into your social media marketing performance. They say that while some social media marketing metrics are universal, there are also platform-specific metrics that you need to learn. Plus, some data is calculated differently depending on the platform and social media metric tools you're using. But first things first, you've got to set your social media goals. In order to measure social media success, you need predefined goals. Social analytics will prove results, but you must ensure your goals are aligned with the company's vision and their objectives in the corporate plan. Here are some questions to consider. Do my social goals support greater business goals? Are the social strategies and tactics we're using outlined and are they attainable? What is our brand voice and how do we adapt that for social? What resources, human and technological, do we need to flourish? What processes are in place to test, learn and adjust as necessary? You've probably heard about SMART goals. Specific. Your goals should be clear, simple and defined. M for measurable. This is where analytics come in. You want a goal that has one or more metrics. A for achievable. Is it achievable or is it not possible within your resources? Or for realistic. With your current resources of time and money, is it possible to achieve your goals? And T for time sensitive. Every goal needs a time frame, whether it's 1 year or several months. Some common and broad social media goals may include increase brand awareness, improve return on investment for Facebook advertising spend, creating a loyal follower base, increasing sales, or driving more website traffic. Define the metrics you'd like to use for each goal. We'll use increased brand awareness as an example here. In reaching increasing brand awareness on Facebook, you will want to pay particular attention to the following metrics: fan count, engagement, page and post impressions, post reach, link clicks when you're linking to your website, and look at website analytics on Google for Facebook referral traffic. Once you determine your metrics, you should then audit your profiles to create a baseline statistic. This is important because you need to know where you were when you started and then you measure from there. Then, of course, review your efforts after you've implemented your strategy and make sure you document them. You'll also want to report the results of your campaign to your CEO or to your CMO. So, are you measuring the right metrics in your social media strategy? If you have a specific question about your campaign or you'd like to take my one-day Metrics That Matter workshop, then get in touch by emailing joanne@digitaltraining.ie.
Social media tool of the week.
The tool that saved my working week this week is Trends Map for understanding trends on Twitter. When I was working on an international account recently, I had to research what topics were trending locally in another nation state. Trends Map helped me discover what real-time local Twitter trends were happening in that country. Some of their features include: find out what latest trends are being discussed, top trend tweets, images, videos, links, and accounts. You can also look at the number of days available for top trends. You can analyse using any topic. You can search by emoji and see what top emojis are being used for particular topics. And you can filter results by time, country, state, region, and language. One feature in particular that I really like is you can learn which tweets are the most popular, influential, replied to, or quoted. If you want to learn more about Trends Map, log on to trendsmap.com. You can also see a full price feature comparison on their website, but there's a freemium version to get you started. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of JSB Talks Digital. To ensure you never miss a show, please subscribe on your smartphone on iTunes or Stitcher. You can also subscribe on SoundCloud. We're now syndicating on the world's largest podcast network, Libsyn. If you are a regular listener, I'd love if you could take a few minutes to post a review. As always, I have everything discussed on today's show, along with all the important links on my blog at digitaltraining.ie. And don't forget to send me your question for Ask JSB. And finally, don't be a social media stranger. I love feedback, so be sure to tweet me your thoughts to @tweetsbyJSB. Post a comment on our Facebook page, Digital Training Institute. You can also snap me at JSB Snaps or send me a photo to JSB Grams. I'm Joanne Sweeney Burke. This is JSB Talks Digital. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.
JSB Talks Digital.